Check one. Top of the morning to you. Top of the morning to you. I'm Michael. Grandkids call me Rue. Thanks for being on Rue 857 this morning. It's almost 8:58 right now. So a minute of just sweet music and focusing and fiddling around with some pens. But I'm here. It's chilly in Charlotte, North Carolina. So wherever you're joining me from, thanks for being here this morning. Let me change a few screens around here. Whoops, not that one. My face is going everywhere. There we go. I want to move that one over just a smidge and pull this one to the front. There we go. Okay, so I can see the comments. Morning, Karen Binder, Fender Finder. Jennifer Yens, thanks for being on the show. Amy Roach, glad to have you. Deborah Spangler. Donna Sell Barton. I hope you're painting gears. The Inspired Life Sketching and Painting. Jason is on the show this morning. Great to have you here, man. And I've unzipped that little packet and I'm pulling through that notebook and it's pretty cool. And I was pleasantly surprised that there's a bee on the logo of the Block Bee journal. So that's kind of fun. And I even like their little tag that says keep creating. That's really cool. Can't wait to dig into it more. I've opened the one notebook. Kimberly Marie, thank you for being on the show. Kathy Mora. Oh, and I thought of you this morning. Jason, take a look at that, man. That's right out of Jack's St. Augustine, Florida. There it is. I think this might be the only bridge I ever painted. This bridge is very important to me for lots of reasons. We spent an anniversary maybe 20 years ago right here at this little beautiful lodge on the side of this, looking at that. And this bridge, of course, goes up so that the big ships can pass under. I painted this in 222, so back in February of this year, we were there and walked across the bridge, walked back, and this is the rebuild of the old Bridge of Lions in St. Augustine. This, of course, is that little sketchbook. This is when I went to Jekyll Island, and I'm going back to Jekyll Island this year, and I'm going to plow through all the details with Jeff and the staff down there about a sketching trip. I can't worry about that until probably next summer sometime. I've got to get this sketching trip, or I've got to get this class in front of me for Canuga watercolor. Anyway, so I'm working on a bunch of stuff and glad you're here on the show this morning. Kathy Moore, I think I said good morning to you. It's frozen here in Oregon. I bet it is. Susie DeLay, thanks for being on the show. Carol Todd Mundy, Denise Albright, Denise's own Roosters from Exeter, California. I think you guys say it so much faster than I do. Exeter, it's like the exit here. Jay Berg, thanks for being on the show. And JJ Dask, Chris Whitaker. Always love having you on the show, my friend. Kristen, it's McElhaney. I don't know why I have such a hard time with macaroni because it's in my name, but McElhaney. Coffee, creativity, community. Life is good. Let's see. Some of you guys are going over and over here. Alice Durham, Carol Marie Joby Goins from where? Crittenden, Kentucky. Ha! I raise chickens. I used to raise them too, but you know what? It's easier to raise Black Angus, I think, because they can take care of themselves than the chickens. Elaine Barnett, thanks for being on the show. Beverly Schmidt, Greenville, I'm sure. All right. Heather Kuhlman, thanks for being here. Raylene Culberson, yep, frozen. Raylene, put your paintings in the mail, I think. Yeah, I know I did. So they should be coming to you soon from that last auction that I had here. Hey, I've got a couple pieces of paper on the desk. Let me show you where we are this morning. I'm going to put on some music. And I left some, this is clean water. Take a look. It's in my mason jar the top doesn't look too clean. Can you see that? That's just pretty grotesque. I should probably take that down and scour it with Barkeeper's Friend. Sounds like a commercial, doesn't it? They are not a sponsor yet. You want to clean out your paint tins? Barkeeper's Friend. If you don't use the stuff, it's rough on your hands, but trust me, it'll clean anything. But I poured some clean water in this today and warm water. But before I poured the clean water before I poured the dirty water out, I poured a little bit in this little just plastic cup that's sitting here. So that was what my water was looking like. And I'm going to paint with it the first painting this morning just so you can see what I'm painting with the dirty water. It'll show up a little better on the show. I just recognize that some of us, it takes longer to get things seated in your brain. And so here we are. And I'm going to paint it on this Kilimanjaro bright white 140-pound cotton paper. Do I have to say this many more times? In a sense, Cheap Joe's Art Stuff is a sponsor. They actually give me things every now and then, and this is one of them that Megan just handed to me. She put it in my hand, and so I said, I've been carrying this little pseudo brush around for a while, and I know Joe probably makes one. I want to know what Joe Miller's Art Stuff does, Cheap Joe's Art Stuff does, and so this is a little pseudo sable Miller's brush. There it is right there. I don't think you can read it on the shininess. Let's see. It's probably no. But it says Miller's pseudo, S-P-S-E-U-D-O, sable. And so what's pseudo sable? Well, it's like fake plastic. I don't know what it is. It really is a fiber that's made very much like sable hair, and it has nylon in it, but it responds with the bend and the flow of pseudo. This is a number four brush. I wanted it kind of sharp. There it is right there. This one doesn't screw in. It just pops in like this. You know what? I think this is in the $20 range, which you think, man, it's awfully high, but it's not when a brush like this will last you a long time. Be careful if you do have one of those. When you're putting it back in, make sure you dry it kind of well, and make sure that it's sharpened a little bit with your fingers before you set it in there. Don't just jam it down in there. You know, you're not making a jam sandwich and put it in. Some of you probably have this, but I'm going to paint with this morning. I want to show you something. I said, Megan, I need a new brush to carry in my pocket all the time that I can just dip in, the drinks, whatever you're drinking. And at the table, it's really scary when the water gets like this. I don't drink it seriously, but and I don't want to dip out of my tea. But I'm going to show you what it's like to paint on this. So I'm going to start with this before I tell you more about this piece of paper. And let's get off. We got 1 week to go, 1 week until Christmas. By the way, I am not painting again Monday, taking Mondays off this month. And there's several reasons for that. I've been getting my act in order for Patreon, doing some different work on Patreon through this next season. Patreon will be a year old in March. And for those of you who have supported me this year, as I've done a deep dive on classes for 90 minutes, and also for my Good News Roo crew part, I've been really working hard at that. I'll decide in March, or probably right before then, or probably before April when it started, how that's going to continue. And I know it's an investment for some of you, at $11.57 a month, you pay into that, and then I show up and we drive down and I answer questions and we paint together. Some of you have become amazing artists, and I'm going to prove that this morning by showing you a couple things that I have in my hands. And so, anyway, that'll be fun to do. If you got any questions, just put them with a QQ on them, and I will hit QQ on my search window, and it'll pop them up, because I miss a lot of comments that come through. And that keeps me out of the fray of what happens on this show, and it sounds like a complaint. Maybe it is a little, but when you all go on a whole transitory rabbit trail of, and I hear the little tone go off, I look, and then you're talking about canning green beans, and I'm going like, whoops, wrong show. That's Grit Magazine. This is watercolor. So if you have a question, type it in, hit a QQ or a QQQ or just a Q. I'll search with a couple Qs, and we'll go from there. Stephen Docker, you're on the show today. Good to have you. Sherry Bullard. Let's see. Linda Schneitney, thank you for being on here again. Paula Lindy. Janetta Dobler. I don't know that I say that name very often. I maybe skip over it, but welcome to the show. Barbara Wilkinson, thank you for being here. All right. Jason has already asked a question. If I throw in the first cues up here this morning, he says, how do you keep joy when you're painting the same objects over and over? And Jason, I think for me is that I just get better and better and better. And I'm going to answer this with what you would probably tell your students if you had them drawing bolt heads in a mechanical drawing class. If they had to turn in some blueprints, detailed blueprints of bolts and schematics and tensile strengths and bolt heads and threading. You would probably say by the time you draw 50 of these, you're going to draw them better and you're going to really know more. And then I'm going to take you to a hardware store and I'm going to let you look at the rivets and the bolts that you're going to be fastening uh, cantilever pieces on to put your lanai in. You know, I speak like an architect. I know very little, but my dad was a contractor. And so I learned early on how to go into a hardware store and find what I was looking for to take this and make this. Same with drawing. So for me, I know that my style is limited. Your style is going to be limited whether you like it or not. Now there's very few artists who can just, I went to high school with an athlete who could play baseball, basketball, football, those three big sports at a high school. He could play all of them at a level that excelled a city, not an all-city player. And then he went on to be an all-state player. And then he went on to be sort of an all-American player for college. And he punted for the University of Tennessee. Then he went to the Vikings and punted. He was a quarterback and threw a couple passes to me that I dropped. So just to tell you, let's just humble the story out. But my point is, he was one of those guys who could put down the football in late October, November in high school after setting all kinds of school records, and he could pick up a basketball and go in and score 30 to 45 points in a basketball game. Just unbelievable. And then the time that season was over, he'd pick up a baseball bat, and one time he hit a baseball out of the stadium in Knoxville, Tennessee, across the Health Net building and almost onto the interstate. And people swear it's 500 and something feet. And they go, no way could a college guy hit a baseball that far, and he did. And so he could have done. He was a Tim Tebow of, I don't know if I'm going to play this or this or this. He was one of those guys. Most of people can do that in some things. There's only a few. So I see artists who are really good in one medium. I see artists who are good in two mediums. Very rarely do I see an artist who sits and camps into all three and is just good in everything. There are many and thousands out there. Okay, come on. But usually you'll drill down, pun intended, and you'll figure out over and over and over what it is that you do really well. And that's what I've been talking about on this show. This is a great setup question for me because I believe this. Do I think that you can't get better in acrylic? No, but if you use the same tools and the same style you paint acrylic with to paint watercolor, you wind up making a mess, or you try to make the same painting. So for me, it just became water because it's so unforgiving, it's so loose, it's so radical, it's so off the charts that it just makes me say, it's going to surprise me every time I put ink or color on a wet piece of paper. It doesn't work great. The only way watercolor works in architecture is that you render this beautiful thing and then you just you draw it, you scale it, you scribe it with scales and with curved watercolor circles. You put all your driveways in with tools like this. You have one of these on your desk, by the way? This is an architectural tool, but it's a great tool for me if I want a little curved something. I just go and there it is around my art. So it's a flexible curve. I still have some architectural tools here laying around. That doesn't mean I know how to draw anything, and nor will I ever want to make another set of stairs. My point in all this is saying you hand it to a rendering artist, and if he's really good with his Prismacolors or his Coptic markers or whatever, he'll make that loose looking, and he won't fill in everything. He'll leave holidays in the trees. So Jason, I think for me, I find that one thing for a season that I want to become really good at. I don't want to master it because I never will. But I want to push it. I have just the last 4 days, I've drawn shrimp over and over and over. And I went, even today, I was making notes. And look, I drew this shrimp head right here. I was making notes for the show this morning early. And I went, where's the roosters that I used to draw all the time? And I'm thinking, well, they're here. I did 2 yesterday. I'm going to do 1 right now. But my point is this. Carol was fixing gumbo, and I peeled about 2.5 pounds of shrimp. She had some friends coming over, and I'm peeling these shrimp, and I'm going like, oh, wow, look at that. Whoa, that's a little different than I've been drawing. I find something new each time that surprises me. So long way around the barn. I went by Jerusalem to give you this answer. Here's the answer. everything, in everything that you do over and over and over, you will find a different piece of detail. Don't be afraid to look that over. Don't just wash over it. Don't just skip over it, but go into maybe one little piece of detail over and over. If I went back to St. Augustine and I'd had to stand in front of the Lion's Bridge and paint this little bridge again, and I just opened it up like this, would I do it better? Oh my gosh, yes. Here's where I closed it, and this got onto this, and it looked like the light blew up, and here's where these are not this, these are not right. They're not to scale. But for me, this was 15 minutes of sitting there with my travel brush, my cup of tea that I poured out in another little lid, and poured some out, and my little palette of watercolor colors from my Altoid box. Here it is right here. And I just sat there and I said, nah, let's sit here long enough for me to sort of make this bridge. And that's it. And is it great? No, but it's not supposed to. Well, it was supposed to be better than this, but it's my journal. It's my travel journal. So good question. All right. Denise says, every dog I paint surprises me. That sounds like a country song. Every dog I paint. All right, here we go. Let me paint something for you. Just I'll jump back up to my questions in just a little bit. This is the 140-pound Kilimanjaro. I'm going to go ahead and take this paper off here just because sometimes when I'm painting with ink, it'll run down through the books. It's not as easy to get off here as you think, and you got to be kind of careful. Cheap Joe's puts this. They do actually. This paper comes from England, where they have it pressed and printed. It's 100% cotton, but they put this together in their store in Boone. It's pretty fun. I've seen that happen. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab this pseudo sable brush. Remember, this is a travel brush. Here it is, all closed up. Boop, fits right in my pocket like a pin. It's a little shorter than my. Actually, there it is compared to my Kakuno fountain pen. Met a young man yesterday who said, why do you have 5 pens laying here? I was painting at a coffee shop yesterday, and I said, because he says, here's your pencil to sketch with? And I go, man, I sketch with a pen. He goes, ooh, you're chancy. Yeah, okay. So here we go. So I'm going to take dirty water so you can see it. So this is my water. This is my clean water over here. This is my dirty water that I poured out because it's been sitting here over the weekend. And I thought you could probably see this. Let me just put on a little music here, just to have something to paint with. Make sure it's not too loud for you. I hope that's okay. All right, here we go. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to dip this little sable brush into the water. Don't even have any paint laying around here yet. And I'm just going to paint. So I want to show you what fun watercolor is. For me, this is part of the magic that surprises me every time. And I've said this over and over. I said there's something happens when you put water on a page and you then drop color on that, and they just start to tangle up a little bit. I just get excited about that every time. You go, well, this guy is a simpleton. Yes, I hope so. All right, so here we go. So let's see. I'm just going to put some, I'm just going to start like this. You might can, I'm thinking this water was dirtier than that. You might can see some of it a little better. You can see maybe a couple splashes. Trust me, I'm putting a little water on here. And I'm sort of painting to the music. Yeah. There's a little bit of a waltz. Oh, wow, like that, okay. And then to put some here. You know I'm painting a rooster, right? Yeah, I am. So just so you can't see it, I'm painting a rooster. We'll see what happens to it here in a second. I'm not going to do it too detailed, but I want you to see just what's going to happen here. Hold on. I'm putting some water back into places where I've already put in some water. Sticking with me, all right? So don't go away, because this is the part that I love doing. This is the part when I go to a 5th grade class and I do this, and they're going like, we can't see what you're doing. Stop. And I'm going like, just give me a second here. Give me a minute. Watch this. Okay, ready? So now I move this out of the way, and I go, okay, there it is. It's finished. And they go, hey, how can it be finished? We can't. That's not a painting. And I go, oh yeah, paint. I forgot to put in the paint. Here it is. I'm going to take a little bit of ink. This is just Higgins Black Magic ink. It's got a little dropper in it. I'm going to grab the dropper here, and I'm just going to start right up here at the top, and I'm just going to drop some ink in. There we go. Drop another one in there, and then just let it paint itself. Don't you love that? I love it. And everybody goes, whoa, whoa. And I'm going, no, don't say whoa. Let it go. Like a Disney film, doesn't it? Okay, so then I'm going to take my sable brush and I'm going to bring in some clean water, or I can still paint with the dirty water. And then I'm just going to bring in this brush and just let it kind of go like this. And then I think I'm going to build up a leg that comes out here like this. By the way, this is number 4 brush. They did it right. This is really a cool filled brush, man. It's got nylon in it, it has springs, but it's got sable hair too, and it's got a great feel. I like it. I like it a lot. So there's this rooster that just showed up out of nowhere just because I strategically put some water in places that look like it. I didn't sketch it. I didn't have a pencil mark here. Didn't have anything, because here's why. So Jason, you set me up for a perfect question. I think you probably know the answer, but you brought it out for the class. That's what good teachers do. And here's the thing. You're being a good teacher, not me, is that you do it to build muscle memory. So I saw that rooster coming out of the water before I even painted it. And I didn't need a sketch. What I needed just this form to take shape. And then look at this. I can roll my sable in this and then just maybe tap it on the brush, and I can get even some of that little bit of dirty around this. So this guy looks like Pigpen. You know who Pigpen is, right? On the old Charlie Brown episode where he's walking and there's dust going everywhere. So watch this. I'm going to show you something now. I'm going to take I'll take the same brush, sable brush, and I'm just going to go in here and grab myself a little bit of color. I'm going to move this over just real carefully. I'm going to take my water and just spray my colors here a little bit and yell, wake up, wake up. By the way, this is a fun little palette. I say this time and time again, but some new people join me on the show. This is a Van Gogh palette. It actually came from Italy. My brother-in-law and sister-in-law brought it to me from Italy. There's only one color, I think, maybe 2 colors. These 2 colors left from all the Van Gogh paint in here. These are all American Journey paints because I like the size of this that I carry. I'm not a big palette person. Sometimes I'll go get a tray, a butcher's tray like this, and I'll just put some in if I'm doing like lots and lots of paintings. Most of the time I carry much smaller palettes like this. Oh shoot, run away, Altoid box. I have to be careful with that one. And these 2, and I carry this one, Charvin one from Paris. Yeah, it's an obsession. You get a little hooked into it. But there's probably 200 paintings in this. Maybe more. I could probably do all 2,000, the rest of my 2,000 bees out of this. Seriously, it doesn't take much color. And so, don't, I think my camera just quit, didn't it? Yeah, it did. It just shut off. Sorry. Hold on 1 second here. I'll come right back to you. Don't go away. I saw that and it just went kaboots. I can fix that right now. I've got a new power cord coming in for this camera, so I apologize for. I shouldn't apologize for equipment failure, but it fails sometimes. Let's see if this does it right here. Let's see if this comes back on. Boop! There we go. Look at that. He did it. Now let me refocus. Okay, so I just had I've got a power cord that comes in, so I had to have a battery plugged in there this morning, and I forgot all about that, Everything's powered up, and then I'm battery operated. I lost the camera up here, and so I'm using one of my big video cameras. All right, so let me go back to this. Why did I do all that? Why did I tell you that? Because I was taking up time. No, I wanted to go get a little bit of color here, and I wet this palette with some water. I'm going to take my pseudo brush and wet it, and I think I just want a little bit of, I just think I want something really different here, orange. I think I'm just going to go in here and get myself some orange, a cross between Halloween orange and something else. I wish it were called another color. I'll complain some other day. And I think I'm just going to throw a little of this orange in there like this with the same brush. And then come back and get some more water. Why am I doing this? I'm just going to show you how fun that brush is to work with. And just grab some orange spots on this, and then I'm done with this painting. There it is. But it's just, I thought it was kind of fun to paint like that. Probably needs a piece of green right there. I said I was done, and then I just lied through my teeth. I think I just want a little piece of green right there. I don't know why. I just felt like it. It's Christmas, that's why. Okay, so there we go. And so this is Christmas. What was my point in showing you that whole drawing? This new little sable brush, I like it. I carried it in my pocket. I used it last night at dinner. Don't you use a paintbrush at dinner? When I carry this and this in my pocket, and on the back of this little card we got for a program, it was a perfect place for a shrimp. So I just quickly sketched a little shrimp and pulled out my pen and gave it to the person next door and said, "Hey, do you like this? It's yours." Sketched it with an 05 Pentel needle tip, which is in this pen. I think it doesn't look like probably the one you sketch with. You probably sketch with one like this. That's an 07 or an 05. Like, do I even have one up here on the bar? That's embarrassing. Bearskin is Pop, I would say, if I don't. Rats. Here's an 05 right here. There's one of the old blue ones. They came out with blue ones for a long time. Now I have the black ones. Maybe I don't. Used to. Isn't that weird? That is too weird. Where's that? A bug out bag. Maybe that's where it is. Yeah, there's one. Okay, there's one in my bug out bag. Right there. This is the 05 Pentel needle tip. So is this. So I use this refill in my pen that I carry every day. All right, let's see. I'm going to go up and check if there's any questions on this Saturday morning. Jason's the only one holding out. Everybody else is just flying along. Donna, I said hello to you. Tamberly, let's see if there's anybody I haven't said hi to. June Jones, I think you're on the show. Let's see. Sammy Osler, did I say hi to you? Maybe. Pat Brooks, welcome. Thank you for being on the show. Pat, I got a little comment for you this morning because I am going to this class that I'm going to be doing in March in person, Lord willing. And some people signed up for that. There's 2 or 3 signed up already. And it's in Montreat. It's in Montreat. It's at Montreat College, which is in Black Mountain, North Carolina. And I'll be doing that for the Canuga watercolor media group. And so there's like 12 artists from all over the country. I'm just excited about meeting some of the other artists. Good grief. And it's going to be so fun. I'm going to go in and be a part of that. And so, but just for that class, Pat, you should know I'm purchasing, for anyone who takes the class, I'm purchasing a book, one of our books, and I'm taking them a book as just a gift as part of the class. So I'm giving it to them. And so I'm going to talk about that book a little bit more this morning because I marked it. Thank you for the card. The flamingos with stocking caps on or winter caps on. I love it. But I want to share one piece of that, and I'll share it out of the show today before I leave. June Jones, always your humor is always appreciated. Lori Stanley, Handelmeyer Henderson, thanks for being on the show. Gene Anthalzer, Sharon Kirk Clifton, thank you for being on the show. That music is paintable, isn't it? Yeah. Cam Lawson, thank you. Skeeter Powell, blessings, buddy. All right. Laura Logan. Wow, a lot of people jumping on this morning. And Cheryl Hoffman, thanks for being on the show this morning. What would you recommend to seal a watercolor paint that I made into an ornament? Wow, that's a good question. I would use, you got to be careful when you're sealing watercolor, and I'll tell you why. If you think you're just going to pile on some Daft or clear lacquer or some spray like that, and I would use a spray, I don't know if I'd paint over it because I think you're going to disrupt the watercolor with the liquid. So I use, and I'm working on something. I'll show you. Good question. I think you set me up, right? You know, last year I painted a couple rolling pins, and I'm painting a new rolling pin this year. This is an antique. Seriously, this is an old pin, wooden handles that are put on spindles. It's maple, it's hard rock maple, and it is hard to paint on. But I've drawn a little Christmas scene on this. Whoever gets it, I'm going to put it in auction in a few days. It'll come to you probably after Christmas time I get it boxed up and shipped, but it'll be fun to hang. And I think this one, instead of laying it down or hanging it like this on your wall, I think it's going to have to hang like this. And so let me show you what the painting is going to look like. Here's the Christmas tree that's coming in right there. Okay, so there's a little peep hanging down from the top, and he's putting a star on the tree. This is all going to brighten up, and it will when I seal it. And so it's not going to be for you to use. This is a keepsake thing. The tree's in a bucket. Over here is a ladder where another little peep is putting some decorations on the tree. Over here is the mama. Here's some mistletoe into the chandelier, which hadn't been finished yet. It's really redishes from my painting the other day. And she is a rolling pin and a bowl of dough. It's got to be biscuits. Come on. And then there's a little chicken in the bread pan picking out dough. Granny, does your dog bite? No child. No, there's a little chicken down here. So it's going to be hung up like this. And it's going to have this little, it spins. And there's your little Christmas story on the rolling pin. So that's what I'm working on. Okay, so when this is all finished and I'm happy with all my colors, so my CAD students will be designing a display stand for it. You know what? That's a great way to get involved. So here's the thing. Once this is finished, I'm going to want to seal it. And so I would never take a dipped sealer and brush it, because as soon as I start applying liquid to this, even if it's dried on, this is wood, it's not going to soak in like paper. Okay, it's going to stay on the surface a little more, but I've done this in layers and it's building up. So I've been laying this here. I've been holding it in my hand in a cloth because it's dry today. I painted some on it yesterday and the day before. And so it takes me a while to do this, because painting on wood with watercolors, I didn't want to paint with acrylic. I didn't want it to have the acrylic look. I wanted it to have watercolor look. There again, I'm back to what I know and what I love. So I'm painting on it with watercolor. And and I'm going to show you a couple tricks. Take a look right here. Can you see? Let me zoom in for just a second. All right. Can you stay with me here for a second? Okay, let's go right here and let's get a little focus right there. Okay. All right. Yeah, and some of you people I already see are pulling in sealers. Is that Denise? Yep. Acrylic sealer. I use a wax. I use a Krylon spray, and I drift it on very lightly. Foop, 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 foop. And I just let it settle and dry, and then I come back and I do it again, and then I let it dry and I do it again, and I do like 3 little coats, and I've had great luck with that on things that I've had to do. So that's what I was getting to in that. But you're going to find there's lots of people who are going to tell you to do different things online. Cold wax rub and dirt proof, that's another one too. You got to be careful. Here's my point. It's one thing if it's oil paint and it's cured, and if it's acrylic paint and it's cured. Spraying watercolor on wood is going to be a different nut. Go ahead and try it unless it really seeps in. This is hard rock maple, and it is tight, tight, tight. They don't want flour and elements and salt and liquids to go in it. So it's been spun and hand rubbed. This thing's also about 70 years old. Okay, 50 yeyears old. And so the point is, we still have a box of, we had 40 in a box, I think, at one time. Okay, so we had this rolling pin idea what we were going to do. I think I shot a video on the show one time. All right, so here's the thing. I finished my painting. I let it dry for a few days, and then I just give it a dusting of this spray. And you have to decide if you want glossy or matte, and I'll probably choose a matte finish for this. And I just drift it on from about 14 inches away. I don't get in close, because my knowledge is this: if I put a liquid, especially a petroleum-based liquid, on top of this watercolor, it'll wake it up and it'll cause the color to run, and I'll get a look I don't want. So there you go. So that's one of the things that I do. That's a rolling pin that's coming up soon. I was going to show you though what I do, and that's why I blew this up. See, I lost my own thought. When I'm painting on this, and I actually go in and put some more green paint on here, and it globs up a little bit like I don't want it to, I'll turn my brush over immediately, and I'll use my brush, the back of my brush, to make the little branches. Don't forget, you can paint with anything. Come on, you don't need a brush. You can paint with a toothpick if you want to. You're not going to get a whole lot done, but you might. All right. I wanted to show you something. Before I leave the show today, I do have a video laid out, I think, if I can find it on my show. Let me see if I can find it here. So sorry. Rats. Hang on. Yes, here it is, I think. I think this is it. Some people ask me if it's Christmas again, and it'll be Christmas before I show up, but I'm going to run it again later this week. I'm going to just pop on live one night this week, because I'm probably not going to paint next Christmas. I don't know. I may paint Christmas Eve. Do you paint on biscuits too? I've thought about it. I have used a brush to paint on biscuits, and I actually used this brush when I made Callie's Hot Little Biscuits to put butter on with. I just thought it'd be funny. And I'll never do that again. I like to never got the butter out of this brush. I had to run it through the dishwasher a few times. But I got this new brush that I'm excited about, and now I got to figure out what I did with it. And I'm going to wash it out, clean it up, make sure it's true, and I'm going to drop it back in. But it's a number 4 pseudo sable from Cheap Joe's Art Stuff. And I, as a disclaimer, yes, they gave me that brush, and I wanted to say thank you to them. Beautiful. The brushes, they do have a little hole in the bottom of the deal here, so that if you do have water on it and it drips out, it won't stay in there and puddle up. That's a cool little feature. So there's a little hole in the bottom of the canister. Let me go back with them so you can see this. You can almost see the name on that brush now. Look. Ooh, look at that. Miller's Pseudo Sable. See that? All right. All right, let's go back out to about right there and start painting from there. All right. I might like this camera up here, actually. It takes me a little longer, but you don't get the feel like you're on a roller coaster. Hey, I know it's December the 17th because Denise Albright, I got my hands on one of her calendars. Oh my gosh, they are just fantastic. I'm just pulling it apart right now, and I'm gonna make sure I don't get anything on it because I'm going to set it at the art bar. And this is a tight fit. These cards this is printed on great stock, and I really do love it. See, Denise, I'm making a wreck out of it, but I had them all out of here, and I shoved them back in. There's December right there. This is December of next year. Denise has been working on her watercolor for a while, and I like her style very much. And we even had a conversation that all these little creatures have a story behind them. A friend's bird, another parakeet, just unbelievable. And so she's done this, but I love this little container too. It folds up like this. And then they all slide down in here, and then you just change it back over as you need one. So 12 months of happy watercolor doodle art. And I called Denise and said, hey, do you have some of these? And I think she's got a dozen of them left. And you message her separately and send her a note if you're interested in one. Good card, good slick paper. I love it. January's a little hummingbird. I love these. They're pretty cool. All right. This is some of the artwork that you've seen on her show, and I love it very much. February is Little Peeps. And this one is so for me. Thank you. Roodoodle style in the boots and the hat. I love it. There's a little bee. This looks like one of my early bees from Pat. I love it. April is a bunny. It only makes sense. I remember seeing this bee, and I loved it very much. A little flower on his head with a paintbrush. I still paint those today. Those are fun. There's the dog on the bicycle with the bluebird holding on. This is this June. Here's July. The dog and her dogs, man. They got some beautiful eyes. August August is anytime you want to wow your audience, just go ahead and take the piano off from under the desk and play a concerto of some sort. Mozart is great. September, all creatures great and small. October. All right, you'll have to explain October. Oh, they're dressed up as mummy. I get it. You see, I don't do Halloween, so that's why I thought about that. November, I love it. Fall, leaves are falling. And December, the little bluebird. These are fabulous. So, Denise, thank you for this calendar. I'm going to put it at the art bar, and it'll keep me from having to walk into the show and go, what day is it? I don't know. So I love it. It comes in its own little case, and it folds up. And if you could fold, but my wife knows that if I'm coming up to the studio, she puts dirty clothes at the bottom of the stairs, and I take them and throw them in the wash. But, when they're dry, I take them down and she folds. I don't fold. I just don't do it. So, and I'm telling you what, it's a tight fit, so these things aren't going to fly off and jump around the room. Once you get them back in there, they go in pretty doggone well. I'm making a mess out of this, aren't I? We have to go get Carol to do this. Hey, Carol, can you help me get this calendar back in its case? I put it in twice yesterday. There it is. Boom, did it. All right. I love it. Denise, thank you for getting that to me. So, and I wanted to show it to you folks. I know she has a few of them. She had a few printed, and there is some local stores where she lives out in Exeter, California. So you guys who are always taking your art and moving it out to places, that's exactly what you're supposed to do. Hey, run it through some dear friends and have them give you a critique or two and say, tweak this, don't do that, do this. This connects, this doesn't connect. Do that sort of thing. I've been encouraging my friend Jason to paint bridges for a while. Thus, a question. It's hard to stay excited about bridges. Not when you're an architect, brother. You're a builder. You're a maker. And so bridges are cool. Bridges are metaphorical. So I didn't want you to lose them. Is that why you packed them in so tight? Hey, yeah. Hey, I'm going to paint one more thing here, and then I'll tell you something else. I'll see about my new brush calendar. I hope you're done with all your Christmas chopping. I didn't say shopping. I said chopping. I've been chopping my list up. I'm going like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. And if you'll notice, I even wrote the poem yesterday on the back of that, the painting that I sold. That was all about don't let your decor and your mantle and your house and your front door get in the way of remembering what the people are for. And that's going out on the back of that painting I did, a little poem. Sometimes my mind just speaks in rhyme and riddle and with no reason, and sometimes with reason. And so that was kind of a fun thing for me to do. All right, here we go. You can contact Denise if you're interested in a calendar. I think she's got a few more before the year starts. Okay, Christmas chopping. Yeah, that's it. Hey, I'm going to take this 05 pen and I'm going to show you what I've been doing. So I changed my shrimp a little bit this week. So I was going to show you that. Look here, I'm going to start with that little nose and then just put a couple of those little pieces on the head. I put the eyes up sometimes on these little spouts up top, but I just want to do this one a little different. And I'm going to go up with his head like this and bring it down. And then the end of that jowl comes up like this. And so last night I was sitting at the table and I was listening to the speaker and I was taking notes, and we were at an event, and so I thought I'll just sketch and listen because I doodle while I listen. And so I did this shrimp, and the folks sitting with me said, "Did you just do that?" And I'm like, "No, my menu came with this on the back." And then they go, "You're such a smart aleck." And I go, "Well, I know she was trying to break the ice, but honestly, she was sort of looking at me do it." And so it's always fun when people see you do something that you've done 1,000 times and you feel like you can do it kind of quickly. And sometimes I do it quickly because I'm not necessarily in a rush, but because it makes the painting more loose. And I don't get in here and worry about each little stroke and where the line's going to go. And if I'm doing it right, I don't really care if I'm doing it right. I just it's fine if I make a mistake or two. It's not a big deal. It isn't to me. And when people see it, they say, "Oh my gosh, I love the character of it." And I go, "It's just how it happens." Now, I know if you're doing detail work, you can't get into that And you can't get into that and create things like Pat does sometimes in her, even in her illustrations. You know, when you get into this and you have to do the eyes like this of of me, that's really scary. But then again, I've taken my glasses off for a while because my hair is kind of holding on its own. But when she does these, you know, and I know Denise will do that, you got to get the eyes right. And so sometimes you have to do that. But on something like this, a shrimp, you know, you really don't know where a shrimp eye is. Is it on his head? Is it in his block? Is it where is it? Doesn't matter. And so, but I love this concept. Just to show you how I love this brush, I'm going to go back to this sable brush. I'm going to do it again. I could do this with a bigger brush faster, but I want to use this pseudo sable here. Remember, this is a pintail. It's the casing is not. This casing is 30 years old, and it's a beautiful brass, heavy pen. I carry it in my pocket every day, but it has the refill of the Pintail Energel needle tip, and so I'm just going to take this, and like I did with my first painting this morning, I'm just going to paint the water inside the shrimp first, and look what's happening on this paper. By the way, I'm using Strathmore paper. Can you see it? No, there it is right there. Strathmore under my thumb. Strathmore. And this is a Strathmore watercolor pad, and it's soft bound, which I like for my briefcase. They make a hard bound one. This paper, honestly, is a little different, and I kind of like it. It's a little more flexible. It's 140 pound. It's not as bright white as the Kilimanjaro. You're going to see it right there. See the difference? Look. I love what Cheap Joe's Art stuff. I love this Kilimanjaro paper does to my watercolor. It makes it pop. But I do love the fact that this is easy to carry with my bug out bag. It fits down in my bug out bag, slip, and we're done. And so I'm putting a little water in here, and then just to liven this piece up. And look at all the black that's coming in there. Is there anything wrong with that? No. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to make some shrimp color. And I'm taking a little bit of, maybe a little bit of a rose color, and I'm just putting it in where I paint my chicken legs most of the time. And look at this. I'm getting this orange, yellow, pink color, and look what it looks like. It's just going to look just like some beautiful shrimp color. See that? That's as shrimpy color as you can get. In fact, if you had that sweater, somebody say, oh my gosh, look, you got on your shrimp sweater today. I could be painting with some music. Very good. Let's see what I got here. Let's play that song again. Can I do that? No, let's play this one. I don't know what it is. Let's just play it. I want to have a repeat going on here. Oh yeah, that's better for shrimp. Now pull some of that orange in there just to get a little depth in the color. And I want a little more orange right under here too. Just under the jowl, underneath the bottom part. I'm leaving some holidays, rocking that shrimp around. He's looking pretty cool. Using this number 4 pseudo sable brush, I'm going to go and I'm going to get some green. Yeah, green. You know, he's a bit on the bottom of the ocean. These are, we eat these things. What's wrong with us? Need a little bit of pink and just a little color in these legs here. Just kind of come down. They're really thin pink most of the time, but I'm putting a little more color in them just so they stand out a little bit. So you can cheat. You can do what you want to do. Who's going to say, hey, I don't think you got the shrimp legs just right. And you go like, next time you're in the ocean, you got a camera, go down and take a picture of one. And they go, well, I didn't mean it as a critique. And you go, it's the way I wanted to paint them. I want them a little darker. So, you can do whatever you want to do. We worry too much what other people think. Stop doing that. Just enjoy the art form. But we all know that shrimp have that dreaded little vein that runs down the back, and it's blue and it's nasty looking, and they call it the vein, but it needs to be cleaned out during most shrimp cooking things. Unless you're just from Florida, you just say, the heck with that. Just cook the dang thing and I'm going to eat it. Music's got a life over here. A little red right in here. Maybe just a little red right in here too. Just, you know, he's had a rough day. He's a little red around the eyes. There's an orange one. Yeah, it's supposed to be red, but I got the red and the orange and the red. clean out my palette. I'm holding this big palette. There we go. Over here. So there's my shrimp coming together. He's coming together pretty well. I like this little orange down here. It's a little overpowering, so I'm going to grab a little bit of this French gray and pop it in there just like that, just on top of that. And then I'm going to grab my pen again. And nope, I'm going to grab the other pen. Now that I've got paint on it, I just want to keep it in my pocket, so I'm going to keep it clean. And so I'm just going to come around like this. But I do want to take my fountain pen before this ink dries. This Kakuno. And I'm going to go in here and just drop in a little bit of maybe that pen's not going to work. Let's see. Let's go get a preppy pen. Do I have a 3 up here on the deck? I got a 5. That's a big old honker. Here's a 5 pen. This is a preppy. I'm just going to go in here and drop some spots in like this with this preppy pen. This is a $4.99 pen that works on carbon ink. And the end, I don't care if it gets gobbed up with watercolor or not. I'm just putting some down in there like this to let it just have some beauty marks. Okay, so they're marks to just show wear and tear on the shrimp as he gets kicked around the bottom. Don't paint your animals so pristine that they look like they've just been pressed out of a catalog, unless that's your style and it fits the client. You do have to adapt your art to what it is that you're working on. And so don't feel bad about that. For heaven's sakes, why would you? I don't do commission paintings. I just don't. People say, hey, gosh, I had this pet shrimp named Walter, Walter, and I really would like to have a copy of him. And I'm going like, take a photo. I can't do it. And the pressure for me to do that and make it look just like what they see in their mind is impossible. So I don't do that. That's not my style. That's not my sweet spot. I'm a storyteller who paints and a painter who tells stories. And this maybe is why it doesn't get old to me, because I just love the concept of just kind of changing horses in the middle of the stream. Of course, what's that old song? Get you wet and sometimes cold. All right. So now what this needs is, I think it needs a little Christmasing up here in the last 10 minutes. I'm going to grab this pen. I'm just going to put I'm going to put some holly berries right here. There's 3. There's 3 holly berries and then a little holly leaf. And that pen just ran out of ink. How about that? Just throw that one across the room. And a little holly berry like this, or leaf. And then come out of here and come down like that. There's one right there, and here's one here goes like this, and like that, and then like this. And then one more that goes back this way. Okay. And then come out of here, and here, and here. And forgive my email if it's popping up in front of you there. And Jason just mentioned it. Thank you, Jason, for recognizing what's going on there. These colors, because I started with water. Remember that? What did I do first? Folks, try this Christmas season. Sketch something and then don't go, okay, let's start putting the paint in. Please, for those of you who are brilliant oil and acrylic painters, for a week, just start with the water first in your painting and then put the color in and then put another color in and a third color and watch what happens. You remember some Patreon when I say, just go with water and then put 3 colors in and watch what happens. Okay? Fumato. Okay? It blends together. It's atmospheric. It just goes, look what's happening to the green and the orange and the blues and the pen ink. It's all bleeding together. I'm going to show it to you closer up for the last 5 minutes here. Watch this. I'm going to come in on this like this. Boom. And I'm going to go for a clear focus right there. Look what's happening to the, there's still a little water right here. Watch when I put this pen in. Look at that. Look at that. That's going to continue to dilute and blend in. If you want to take time with your watercolors, take time like this. This is the thing that I love to teach people over and over and over. And then watch what I can do here. I'm going to come in with a pen and here's where I can take the handle of my little brush and just go in if I want just some little movement in there like this. Look, I can just take the other end of the brush and push that a little bit to get some movement. All right. We spend so much time trying to get detail instead of let the detail just come to us sometimes. And I know that's a backward way of thinking, but man, it's a fun way to just let imagination run. All right, so, and I want some cool color here. Watch this. I'm going to go into this other palette and get myself a little spring green. And you think, nah, it's holly. You don't need spring green. You have to on one side. Uh-oh, I got into the red there a little bit, didn't I? Let's just take it, erase that. There we go. We're out of that. Come back in here with a little spring green on that side, a little spring green here. Then I'm going to come back and I'm just going to touch that with a little touch of paper towel, just like so. And this one too, right here. Okay, I think you're in there close so you can see this. I'm glad I'm so close so you can see my brush go in. Look, I'm not trying to get in here and go, I'm just touching it and just letting it go. So what if my brush skips over and runs out of the line a little bit? It's my paper. And if I ever get graded on art and someone says, dude, you ran out of the line, I failed anyway. Or maybe I have passed. Okay. So there's a little holly shrimp, and I kind of like that little drawing. And this is about where your friends will view it from, and this is about where they'll see it from across the room. And they go, dang, I like that little shrimp you got there. And you go, yeah, he's on his way to the Christmas tree. He's swimming to the door right before he becomes a part of the shrimp boil. All right, I got to finish this up, so I am going to clean this brush and put it up here. And I'm going to pop this brush back in very carefully, like so. Push it in. That goes back in my pocket. I'm going to grab a little bigger brush, and I'm going to grab just a bamboo brush. This is probably a number 1 Yasutoma brush, and I'm just going to throw some water in. Oh, he's doing it. He said he was going to do it. I'm just grab some water, throw a little water in just like this, and then I'm going to just go grab a little bit of French blue, ultramarine, and just splatter some of it right in here like this, just around, just so it can start to splatter in. I'm actually going to come up in here and get a little bit of blue right underneath this where some of this is dried. Now, if I waited 20 minutes, if a frog had wings, he wouldn't wear out his fanny jumping, right? That's what my dad would say. But if I waited 20 minutes, this would be dry and I could bump that background right up to it. In this case, I'm not going to wait because, well, we're going to be off of the air here in just a minute. And so I'm just pushing that in, and I wanted a little bit of that around there. So that's all I need to do. Throw some more water in that and just let it fan out as it sees fit. I've got to do one more thing. I got to go grab a real fine pen, this one, and I'm just going to go around here and let this be there they are, and just let those bleed into the atmosphere also. So let's do Roodoodles right here. Whoops. I better wait until that dries, huh? Before I sign this one. All right, so there it is. Hey, I got a quick story to share with you, and I'm going to come back on one night this week, and I'm going to run a video of the Nativity. The little Fontanini characters are reaching across the divide. They've been all over the house, and they're heading toward the little city of Bethlehem. What am I doing? I'm still messing with this. I wanted that to be just a little darker right in there. So I just went and got a little bit of copper penny and dropped it in. Ooh, I'm liking it. I'm going to pull out a little touch of that. And the way I could do that is I could put a little yellow over it. It's hard to know when to put the brush down and back away from the easel, even for guys who've done it a while, but now I'm done. All right, I want to share this with you. I'm going to show one night this week I'm going to pop on and just do a little nativity story, and I'll post when I'm doing that. Pat, thanks for the card and the sweet note. And if you haven't, you made me laugh, Pat, because you wrote a little note in there about taking some time off just to relax. You said Einstein did that. You're not comparing me to Einstein, but maybe Walter Matthau, who played Einstein in one of my old-time favorite movies, not all-time, but old-time favorite movies, called IQ. It's a great little romantic comedy with Meg Ryan and Timothy Hutton, maybe. Anyway, it's just beautiful little story. And so, Jacqueline, yeah, I'll bring that back. I'll bring back my need a book of your dad's sayings. Yeah, I do. All right. Hey, here it is. This comes from the Christmas story, and I want to read it to you this morning. And Pat, thank you. This is Pat's illustration one day. And say, hey, as a reminder, you guys could buy these books. We haven't sold books in so long, and most of you on the show have some, but I would love if you want to give this out for people who are worried about some of the things that they worry about in watercolor. This will help them a little bit. It's called Noodle Doodle Fiddle Piddle, and it's Roodoodles. You can probably order it from me. You can get it on Amazon in a heartbeat. It's illustrated by Pat Brooks, who shows up on this show and has been showing up on this show since I started this show. So she's a dear friend online. Peter and Pat and I have never met and had dinner. But I'd like to send her I'd like to sell some books, and we'll send her a check to have some hot dogs for Christmas. All right. One day you're going to wake up and realize that you are highly favored. As soon as you realize that you're on this planet for a purpose, that you were born at the right place at the right time, that you're gifted to connect and help and serve others, your life will change. You've been thinking, somebody's going to come in and change my life. No. When you start helping other people change your life, your life changes then. It's crazy, but it works, okay? Your outlook will change. You might not make life easier for you. You might not even make more money, but you'll notice something is going on inside you that makes each day sweeter. This week, we're celebrating the Christmas story. And when our kids were young, we wanted them to read the parts and pick out parts. And here's something we picked out. So there it is in black and white. In this story, the Christmas story that we read, Gabriel, this angel, shows up in this little town, and we think under an olive orchard, he speaks to this young woman named Mary, and here's how he greets her. Greetings, favored one. That's how the Christmas story really starts in Matthew. Some of it does. And he says again, don't be afraid, oh you who are favored, because your life will change. Here's my take on it, not changing the word of the Bible, but how I say it. I just read to you that when you notice that you're on this world for a reason, and that you serve others and help others, your life will change. And it may not make you more money. It may not make you make your life easier, but it'll make each day sweeter. So he says, your outlook will change, and you're going to notice that some things are going on inside you that it's going to make the world a sweeter place. So we took that as our family motto. Carol really grabbed it, and she said, kids, as they headed out the door to school, you're highly favored. So many times I finish this class and I say, if you can think like an artist, you're highly favored. If you have time to sit down and make art, you're highly favored. If you have a family that loves you, you're highly favored. If you have people you need to settle scores with and you do that, you're highly favored. If you give away your artwork to people, you're highly favored. If you sell your artwork to people, you're highly favored. If you live in a country where you can go buy art supplies, you're highly favored. If you have beans on your table for Christmas, you're highly favored. You can just list it. One of the things I'm doing this year is I'm putting a sign on our wall in our house that says, remember. I've asked my daughter to do it. And then I've got all these other little words that go with it. Why, what, how, when. Remember what Christmas is about. Remember. Hey, I don't know if I like this bean casserole. What do you remember right now? I remember that it's not about the bean casserole. In fact, I don't like fruitcakes. You know that. I don't like casseroles. Just give me the things one by one and let me eat them that way. Don't put them all in the same bowl and cook them and hope it's good, unless it's gumbo. Okay, so I have some rules about food because we cook. We took it as our family motto. Carol started it. We are highly favored. We say it many times a month. Our kids now say it, and they're teaching it to their kids. My grandkids hear it from us. Hey, what do you mean you're arguing over that? You're highly favored. Now we're working on the grandkids saying it. We believe it. So whatever comes, rain or shine, thick or thin, mild or tough, drama, tragedy, sadness, hurt, cancer, the end of life, all of that comes to us. We're only on this planet for a short time. But while you're here, you're highly favored. This part of our life, our faith, our hope, our very being, it reflects the very rules and the style and the creation of art. I get to make art. I get to think like an artist. I get to encourage and help other artists. I get to sell my works. I get to give my works away. I get to do this silly show on the internet where I get to tell stories to people. Come on. I am highly favored. Maybe someday, sometime, you might step up and say it. You're highly favored. That's just one of the pages in Noodle Doodle Fiddle Piddle. An artist should sell his wares. So I'm telling you about this book today. Thank you very much for being a part of this. It's how you should respond to your family. It's how you should respond to the Creator. It's how you should respond to the creation. And it's why you can be excited about painting art. Simple pigment that originally came out of the earth. Minerals and all made these. Some are synthetic nowadays, yes. But to mix this with water and create this, come on. I'm highly favored. I'm highly favored every time I sip a cup of tea and think it grew from a plant. And I get to pour water on it and I get to drink it. And shoot, sometimes I paint with it. I am highly favored. Christmas blessings to you. I'm going to pop back on this week sometime and I'm going to just show the nativity video. It's about all the Fontanini characters, and there have been some new ones that were shipped in this year. We're highly favored by eBay, or we highly favored some people who had eBay stores. And so some of my money from paintings went to Fontanini characters, which will be used for this season and then go back in a trunk. But I find it highly favored. I had some men in my house last week, and they were going like, why are these people over here in this corner? I said, stop. That's Mary and Joseph. They're on a donkey right over there. They're coming by the doorway. They're going to get moved closer this week. They're all going to there by the fireplace. That's where the orange crate is made into a little nativity, and that's where they're going. It's a celebration of this story. That's just who we are. But I don't know who you are. I don't know what you think. But I think this: if you love art, then you got to recognize, and you can think like an artist, that you're highly favored. I am out of here like a herd of turtles. It's 10:03, and I got to be gone. I got a busy day ahead of me. All right. So blessings to you all. I got to finish this show. Let's see if I can play my way out. Nah, just one note is good enough, and that's all you're going to get.